Welcome to Take Life Further at Western, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories, insights, and strategies that empower you to push beyond your limits and live life to the fullest. We're your hosts. I'm Tad Taggart.
And I'm Katie King.
And each month we'll be exploring the journeys of incredible individuals who have dared to dream big, overcome obstacles, and achieve extraordinary success.
So get ready to be inspired,
Motivated,
and equipped to take life further.
Good morning. We're back with Take Life Further at Western Racket.
It feels a little like there's a void here without Tad.
It does. It feels weird.
I feel
but
like
that's
we have
okay.
to amp the energy up a little bit.
We do.
without
Steve,
him.
let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's
He's
do
usually
it.
making silly noises or
I know or beatboxing.
do you know
or...
any tongue twisters?
Who's that we're talking about?
Tad, our former co-host, but he just left. That was our last episode with him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and he's taking a little bit. Well, he's going to come back.
You keep saying that.
I know.
But he
Tad
hasn't.
is missed.
Tad
Tad
he
is
is missed because he brought a really good energy, but that's okay.
It's because he's
just-
crazy in a good way.
Well, we all are.
Yeah.
We all look crazy, but you're going to fill in and it's going to be great.
I'll do my best.
You will do great. You won't be, well, you may still be Oz. Will she be Oz on the camera? She does have a golden voice.
Oh, thank you.
You could do voiceovers,
You
Sophie.
should get into voice acting.
Well, today we are talking about Steve Baker.
Oh,
I
talking
know.
about me.
We're talking about you. Man, you've been at Western doing basketball now for what, 7, 8 years?
It's been a while.
I know. And Sophie was like, I don't know if I've ever met him before.
Yeah, have we ever actually formally met?
No.
I've seen you around because I've been at Western for 15 years. So and I
No.
was at the front desk for a while. It's like I see you, but I was like, I don't think I've ever actually met.
He never really comes on time. So that maybe that's why.
He was on time today.
That's
And
because
never
I called
checked
and
in at the
reminded him.
front desk. I have to go there now because my key to the gym is there, but
Mhm.
Sure.
typically I just go to the gym.
He just sneaks in and steals, doesn't steal stuff, takes stuff from, grab and go and goes
Close.
and coaches kids.
Grab snacks on the way. That's what they're for, right?
That's what they're
That's
for.
what they're for. But you've changed so much since you started
Mm.
that many years ago. You played basketball for UWGB,
Mhm.
got a degree. I was going to say psychology, but I can't because that's wrong. In social work. You now coach kids in AAU.
Mhm.
You teach them one-on-one.
Mhm.
You are not originally from Green Bay.
I am now. I've been out here
You can't say originally, then you would be like, I can say it's original, but
13 years in Wisconsin. I'm from Green Bay now, so it's
okay.
official.
What
But
led you to
before
come
that-
to UWGB? Was it basketball?
Yeah, basketball.
Yeah.
But before that, I was from Minnesota,
Thank you. That's what we were trying to get at.
Where in Minnesota?
St. Paul.
Okay, sure.
Let me be clear. I was born and raised in Chicago, but I lived in Minnesota before I went to college.
Gotcha.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
And now recently, you have started a business that's pretty cool. Well, pretty cool in my eyes. Because as I've watched you over these 7, 8, 9, 10 years, one thing I've always noticed is the ability that you have with kids. It's pretty amazing to watch. And I've actually said that to many people. If you really want to get to know them, go see them on the court with the kids.
No, I appreciate that.
Because that's a totally different experience than seeing you just walking through the club.
Yeah.
But fundamentals is what you started.
Mhm.
Can you explain to us a little bit what it is?
I get asked that question all the time, and my answer changes because every day, to be honest, it changes. But I had a lady tell me we saved her son's life. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, I can't say what it was. It was designed to do that, but to know that it's actually happening. But we are an alternative school, an after-school program, and we serve, kids at Hope, kids who are, they're not given a fair shake at life. There's trauma, environmental factors that, disrupt their success. They're dealt hands. They don't know how to play. So I just found a group of people that love working with people and love being around kids, and we just kind of opened our doors, and it's working.
How long have you guys been doing that?
July 5th made 4 years.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Dang.
And we are expanded from here to Wausau to Oshkosh. We serve about 40 counties, 50 school districts.
Can you give us a little bit more detail kind of about what the school does and the different programs and stuff that you do
So
there?
So most of our students are kids with IEPs, you know, and once again, I talk about intellectual disabilities, you know, autism, mental health disorders, behavior disorders. We kind of created a safe space. So they come to us and we work through it all, you know, the good, the bad. We celebrate the wins. And sometimes you got to find them. They're really small, but you celebrate them. Ultimately, we're just building resiliency, you know, because the world is going to be, you know, tough without it. You know, we're constantly developing and evolving. And what's unique about it for me is I think the work that we do with the kids is kind of normal because I remember being a kid, everything that I do with them is what we did growing up. So it's not hard. But what I like about it is that I get the chance to have an impact on young adults, you know, because this, you know, I want to say this generation after me, they don't necessarily, you know, they grew up in technology. They lack a lot of the interpersonal skills. So then you get them in an environment like ours where computers and things like that, you got to actually communicate face to face.
Right.
So I have about 25 to 30 young people that actually were kids that I coached or worked with that actually work for me now.
Oh, no way.
So it's kind of creating a process, you know, bringing people back into the field. But it's cool. In our school program, like I said, we have a site in Wausau, Oshkosh, Appleton, and Green Bay. And we take, you know, kids that the schools are struggling with, kids who are not having success in traditional school settings. They come to us, you know, we love on them, we educate them, and we kick them out and get them back to their home schools where they belong. Our after school program, we pick kids up from far, far away. And ultimately with that process is to keep kids in their community. Because right now there's a lot of kids being sent out of state. Some kids being sent out the country because their needs are so excessive. You know, and
Where are they getting sent?
Why and why?
Well, I mean, where is whoever will take them.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of places nowadays that'll say no, you can't serve them. And what that does is that it puts them in a situation where they go into locked facilities, you know, sent out of state, or they're not going to have success. So we just say, hey, bring them to us. You know, I found like-minded people who can keep them safe and people who can connect with them, build relationship. And you start to see the child come out of them, right? And you work through all of their trauma. And that's my part as a social worker, as a therapist, right? Really addressing the trauma. But the biggest success is literally in the people that I have. Because you don't have to teach them how to build rapport and relationships. That's the hardest thing when you do this work. If you bring people in, they can be the most knowledgeable, but they don't know how to connect with kids. Nothing ever happens. But I have a group of people who may not have the most knowledge of mental health. When it comes to connecting to a child and motivate a child, they do it effortlessly.
That's amazing.
Well, James, you owe me a soda. Wow. How do they get to you?
Who's they?
The kids.
So referrals. We contract with counties and school districts, and then parents. You know, parents hear about what we do, and they reach out. You know, and it's always like good and bad with everything. You know, we have a lot of success stories, but we have some stories that could have went different. You know, and that's just a part of the work. It's a part of the population we serve. I say this to everyone: the work that we do is highly scrutinized, but it's so needed. You know, it's hard. I can see why people are like, I don't know if I want to do that because it's highly scrutinized, but someone has to do it. And what's interesting about it, too.
Why is it scrutinized?
Well, you work with children.
It sounds like you're filling a huge gap. I mean,
and they're the most vulnerable children.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to have an adult program.
You know, there are those out there, though.
Right? Because there's going to be the traumas that come from the community, that come from, but I think knowing myself, as adults, sometimes we pass that on to our kids.
Well, that's the big part about mental health. Like, you see this big kick with men's mental health, which I think is cute. It's kind of huge. I think it's really.
Did you say
thing.
Cute?
It's huge. I said. But the people don't understand that mental health is not just your issue. Like, it's your mental health, but it's not your issue. It's an environmental challenge, right? And I think that the environment, because you're going to have an impact on the environment, like the impact the environment has had on you. Most people's struggles with their mental health is because things external, right? There are some internal factors, but typically it starts with external factors, right? Neglect, trauma, abuse, things like that. So we can address those things. And when people lose that fight in the mental health, it's because they're doing it alone, which is what we've created at Fundamentals. You don't have to do it alone. You can come to us and be loved on, and you can be yourself and let it out. It's like addiction. Kids go through so much, and as they kind of go through withdrawals, fighting and screaming, and they feel like they're safe, they get to that point, and now we can teach and we can heal. But it's interesting work. I like it. It's not like, and there's a connection to the basketball because I think about, like, everybody always asks me, why did I stop playing ball? because I actually like working with kids more. And I never thought I would say that. I used to play basketball all the time.
Well, that's a good place. Let's back up and give us a little bit of your history with basketball and kind of maybe how starting there then led to your education, getting your master's, and then moving on to working with kids.
How many hours did Steve Baker spend on the basketball court as a 5-year-old?
What do they say? What's the rule? Like 10,000 hours?
Mhm.
So like Malcolm Gladwell, you spend 10,000 hours doing something, you're a master at it.
Unfortunately, I don't know if that's realistic for everybody.
No, I don't think so.
But, I grew up in a place where sports is what you had. And this is a big challenge. We could talk about a lot. It's like the school systems. Where I'm from, they don't teach you about a lot of, black men being things other than athletes. They ain't talk to us about black inventors, and black scientists and black politicians. The only thing we saw that was black and successful was athletes. So
Right,
that's
you
what
don't
we
get that
strive to be.
representation. Yeah.
So I played basketball, and it was my thing. I was good at it. It is honestly what got me through high school. I did exactly what I needed to do to play. I didn't go above and beyond. But then I had a guidance counselor, and she grabbed my hand and said, "You can go and be great." And she helped me get all my ACT stuff signed up. I actually took the test, did really well, and I got a scholarship. And then from there, I kind of realized that it was a real thing. So I went to school in Iowa, played basketball. Southeastern Iowa. It's not just a school, it's the best junior college in the country. And from there, I came to Green Bay. Played my 2 years at Green Bay. I went overseas and played. I played a lot. I played a lot locally when I was maybe 10 years ago, a little younger.
Where in Europe did you play?
Portugal.
Okay. Oh, neat.
Is that where you also were a pro at tennis?
I was a pro tennis player over there, too. Soccer, too. I did a little bit of everything over there.
A pro at everything?
A little bit
How many
of
hours?
everything. It was a lot of hours over
How
there.
long were you there for?
10 months.
Okay.
And it's a full-time job. You got 2-3 hour practices, weights. I actually struggled with it because my teammates, I liked them, but I saw them too much. Like,
Yeah,
I need a
that's
little
fair.
break from y'all. Like,
Yeah.
I'm spending a lot of time with you. It's not like college. You see them, you got practice, you go to class, you do your own thing. Over there, it's not
Every
really
day.
much. Every day.
Was there any culture shock? Was it people from all over the world or
Yeah.
what was, yeah.
So I always tell people as a pro over there, I didn't go over there to play against Europeans. I went to play against other Americans.
Yeah. Okay.
So every night I'm playing against a guy from a different university. So it's pretty cool. Then some of the European guys was good too, but they play a different style of play. We were much faster, more athletic, more aggressive. They're just more tactical.
Okay.
So you got to kind of manipulate your game a little bit because some of them, that tactical approach to basketball is really good.
Sure.
But from overseas, I was over there. And what's interesting is I was working at the Boys and Girls Club at the time. And I used to video chat with the Boys and Girls Club while I was in Europe. And I just liked the kids, to be honest. That was kind of where I fell in love with it. I enjoyed the kids. And, it was something I'm like, okay, I could do this for the rest of my life. I probably could play basketball for the next 5-6 years, make enough money. But then what? So let me go back home. Let me get back in school. So I got back in school. I got my master's in social work. I strive to be an LCSW. And in my time, I just realized, I need to make the connection between the two, which is why I started my own AAU program. I was working for a program out in Appleton. I kind of helped them get that process running with training and building teams and things like that. But I said I could do this for myself and do it my way because there's a mental health component in basketball. See, I watch a lot of kids that get their dreams snatched away from them because the coaching isn't the greatest. So as a coach, if you are a guy who's limited in your skill, you can't teach kids, right? Because you're limited. So what you teach them is going to be limited. And I'm not saying I have all of the knowledge, but I know enough based on my background in mental health. Is that when you tell a kid not to do something, especially at a young age like that, they grow up and they never do it. And the confidence to do it is just depleted. So I get a lot of kids that come to me because their confidence has been killed because coaches have put them in positions to not do anything. Don't shoot, don't dribble, pass to this person, right? And it's unfortunate. It's just the culture of the game. And I'm hoping that it's changing. So my thought is that I could create a process where, we take a small number of kids, they play a ton of minutes, we love them, build them up, we train them and develop them, and they go out and find success. And I think I've done a good job of that. I have some kids who are really good, but what they get from it the most is the character building, right? Because there's so much more to basketball. Like I didn't know this when I was a child, but all of the things that I learned, from punctuality and just commitment comes from basketball. Now, I'm not a very punctual person.
I was like, are you still working on the punctuality thing?
I'm not a very punctual person, but I show up. And my message to everybody is I may be late, but when I get there, I'm going to give you everything I got.
Yeah.
And they understand that. Some people it works for, some people it doesn't. And that's the thing, too, about life. And I'm actually glad it's like that because I don't want a person around me that's halfway in, halfway out. So if it doesn't work for you, just there's other places for you to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what you get when you get with me. You're going to get full commitment, ton of skill work, ton of training, ton of development. And I've had kids from this big to this big, so something I'm doing is working. Something about it they enjoy. So we do a lot of training here, small group, one-on-one. It's a lot of fun. Kids come through the door. They like it here. The bar used to be up there. Western has changed a lot.
Oh, yeah. Always changing.
But the
Always
parents
evolving.
used to love to sit at the bar and enjoy themselves while we doing basketball. That was a big piece of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever going to come back.
It is. It's in a bar cart.
Yeah,
We
they
just have to
don't-
pull it out.
Nobody wants to do that. There's TVs and things like that. But no, I've been here quite a while, and they've been good to me. To be honest, I'm blessed. I'm grateful, 100%.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we've enjoyed having you. But so you came home. You worked with the Boys and Girls Club. And then what made you go, I think I'm just going to start my own?
So what's interesting is that I worked with the Boys and Girls Club before I left too. But when I came back, I realized that the kids out at the club were so much like me. And when I was a kid, like the thing that I was missing was that understanding of life. I'll be honest, I grew up, there's so many of us, I learned a lot from my big brothers, I'm not saying I didn't have like role models, because I did. I had that, but there were components that was missing. And then as I'm working with these kids, I'm like, I got to figure out, what's the next step? Because there's a lot of environmental factors for why kids don't succeed. You talked about it, multi-generational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You think about, and the Boys and Girls Club is on the east side of Green Bay. So it's like, it's really low income. It's diverse, it's extremely diverse, but it's low income, so you want to figure out how to have an impact on that. So I started working at another place. And I got to see the real side of the mental health component of it, like kids with like significant mental health disorders. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is another challenge. But if I can do this work here, I can go back to the Boys and Girls Club and thrive, right? And I can help them overcome the things that they've done. But as I was doing that work there, it was just easy. Like, and I say this, and people who grow up in the inner cities, they can relate. You find yourself submerged around so many types of people. When I was growing up, nobody knew what autism was. We had no discussion around mental health.
Mm-hmm.
We knew you was a bit different, but we accepted you and we protected you because you was from here, right? We don't know what's going on with you. we just know you're different, so you always going to be good. We may at times make fun of you, but we're going to do that. We're not going to allow anybody else to do that.
Yeah, they're part of your community.
Yeah,
100%.
Only I can do that. You can't do that.
And we never knew. So as I got older, I started to learn, okay, now it started to make sense. And this is what I tell people too. When I started to dive into the education component of it, started to look at the things that happened in my life and how I was raised and parenting styles and like things I was exposed to, environment. There's a thing out there called an ACEs score. If you haven't done it, you should do it. Right? My ACEs score is really high.
I'm going to write that down.
But
Please.
as a
Let's
person,
both take that.
no, my ACEs score is really high. In all honesty, it's like, if you look at that, it'll tell me that I'm significantly traumatized, but I'm not. Some things are just normal, right? I grew up in an environment where alcohol in the neighborhood and the community is normal. Drugs, violence is normal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's okay. So my response to it is different. I don't look at it and be like, oh, man. So I think that's why I find success in this field that I'm in, is because when things go really bad, when some people may catastrophize and be like, that's just a lot, I'm looking at it like, oh, I've seen that before.
So it's normal to you.
Mm-hmm.
But is that like one thing that maybe we need to look at differently and not always think it as, well, that's a trauma in my life instead of that's just normal to me. So how do I move through it?
Yeah, it poises you as kind of the perfect person to help these kids going through similar things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always say this, like we get these reports on kids. They'll be like, the report should be like 10 pages long of all of the things that kid has done wrong. But in my eyes, I'm like, that's probably that experience of the person that was with it. I'm going to create my own experience.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Because I grew up around this. So I see this. This doesn't bother me. I know what it is. I can navigate this.
Yeah.
It doesn't rattle me. Because one thing about kids is they read right through you.
Yeah.
Like, and when they feel
sure.
a sense of safety, then they'll do whatever for you.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing it work. I've had kids who, they hug me one second, hate me the next, but they would protect me from anything.
Yeah.
And that's the bond you build. But they don't know how to do things healthy because they come to us. And everything that we do is reactive. I hate to say it. I'm trying to be more proactive in the field, but right now everything's reactive because kids come to us already and things have already happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to be more proactive.
Well, it's great to get to do this work with kids, I think, too, because you're setting them up with the skills that are going to serve them for the rest of their lives so they don't become adults who are plagued by their own traumas and experiences in life. They become adults who can handle those things and cope
Mhm.
with those things. And
it's judgment free.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing with trauma. It's like when you don't feel like you can go to a place and belong, it makes life hard on you.
right.
When kids know that they're
It's true.
different, they can't go nowhere. It's like kids with, some of our kids with autism, they don't go out to restaurants. They don't go to public places because there's a fear of how people are going to view them. And for me, it's like I would fight with anybody if I take this kid somewhere and you making fun of him or you tell him he's not accepted because of something that, that's a part of him. Because we're trying to teach them that you can live with autism.
Mm-hmm.
You can live with trauma. You can live with, RAD. You can live with these things. You can learn how to find success, But the community has to be open. And that's why I talk about environment, right? It's not necessarily the challenge, the mental health itself that's the challenge, it's the people. Right? It's the people that in the way they view it, right? They kind of, I don't want to be around that person. Keep my kids away from them.
Yeah.
No, that creates a stronger sense of like hopelessness and alienation and shame in a kid.
That just makes me so
It's
sad.
so sad.
Yeah.
Because I think of, man, when you really get to know some of the kids, like, I feel like some kids that we call normal aren't normal, but they're so smart. They have a different way of looking at things. I think we've just like put everything in this box and it's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be instead
sort of hegemony of the culture and the way we decide kids are supposed to be and how we're supposed
and
to
how they're
raise
supposed to
them.
learn.
So of course, any kid who deviates from that is gonna have a hard time, and especially if you add, not just deviating from that because they might have their own mental disorder or whatever, but because they are experiencing trauma in their environment, or it totally sets them up for failure.
Well, normalcy is in the eye of the beholder. You got to think about it. What do you consider to be normal? I just shared my experience of normal. It's different.
Right.
People coming from a suburban area or more rural area may look at the things going on in these urban areas and be like, oh, that's just, but no, it's normal to us, So I think that's the pieces. And kids are like the future. And I know we say that, some people say it, but they don't mean it, but they truly are. I have some kids who, on paper, they've done some really bad things, but they're brilliant kids, like so talented. They just have never been given an opportunity to share that talent because they're already prejudged based off that information that was shared that they didn't even know it, but they probably don't know about.
Yeah.
Right? People are, and there's just a lot of, I hate to say it, there's a lot of wrong people doing this work.
I was going to ask, do you find a lot of pushback or maybe pushback's not the right word, but I just think about doing this work in this community. Like, it's no joke that we're like basically kind of a suburban white, like very sheltered, traditionally conservative, although I think that's getting a little bit more
better
muddied as younger generations sort of start to take control of different places of power in the city and the area. But do you find that to be an extra challenge in your work?
You said something that was key. I think that acceptance, what you said, it all lies around acceptance. I think that the community has to accept that it's more diverse than it was.
Yeah.
They have to accept that there are different people and there's different likes and interests.
Yeah.
They have to accept that something may not be for you, but it's for another group, and that's okay. If you think about this community in particular, there is still a sense of
fear, indifference.
There's a sense of divide when you think about trying to push more to be more culturally competent and sensitive. There isn't a lot of things that, if you think about it, like what does the community offer? And there's organizations out there really trying to push culture. But what is the city of Green Bay? And I don't mean I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody. That's not. But I think we need to be more accepting to the different cultures, because this place is. I meet a lot of people here, but a lot of them aren't even from here.
Sure.
So it's not like they're homegrown people. There are people moving in from other places. And I do challenge those people that if you do come here to find success and a better life, leave that mentality back where you came from.
Sure.
Because you can't bring a big city mentality to a Green Bay.
Right.
Because that creates a challenge. But I do challenge the city of Green Bay to understand, and people in Green Bay, that we are inviting people from bigger cities to come here.
Yeah,
right?
Which I think is great. I think just in the last 10 years, you see how Green Bay has grown, and you see a lot more effort trying to trying to get people to realize the diversity and the different cultures and stuff that we have here. But I do think there's sort of a segment of the population that's sort of just like clinging on for dear life to like this like past like nostalgic vision of Green Bay, which never really existed anyways. Like nostalgia is a trap like that. But
I think it's also patience in learning somebody else. We don't have a lot of patience to sit with people and actually talk and ask questions and be okay with whatever answers you get.
Well, it's fear. People fear the unknown. I'm afraid to let some people have a little leeway or leadership or power in a sense, because that's the word people like, because they don't know what they would do with it. Will they change the ways? Will they make the place unsafe? Will the culture change? Yes, that's the point of it. Because people always think culture is connected to ethnicity. No, culture is connected to time and the way what you're interested in, right? You and I could be different. We're totally different in appearance, but we grew up in the same culture, right? We like the same music. So culturally, we're the same, right? People think culture is always connected to ethnicity. It's not.
It's not.
Sure.
So you got to look at it from that lens. But there's a lot, and that problems everywhere.
Right.
But then when it comes to working with the kids, my goal is I don't fight those fights. I'm not going to argue with a person because there's so many kids out there that need our support. And it's unfortunate that there are adults and people in positions who will impede that interaction, that connection for their own personal reasons. But my goal is I'm just going to be a support to those who I can.
Yeah, you're there.
Since I've started this business, I've heard a lot about myself that I didn't even know. Because that's what happens when you do things like that. When you start to put yourself in a position where you're making a positive change, it makes people uncomfortable. So people want to make assumptions and do things like that. I just keep pushing forward, and kids keep coming through the door.
Yeah.
You know, I don't pay attention to the negative in any way, because that impedes my success and what I'm trying to do. And it will, it weighs on you, right? And I don't ever want to go into a situation where I'm interacting with a kid and I'm not fully committed.
Sure. That makes sense.
That makes total sense. Man, I don't even think in Green Bay that we realize the help that some of them need.
Well, I know everywhere. I mean, those are the kids that do get swept under the rug that people just want to ignore. It's kind of like I don't see a problem. Put your fingers in your ears, like blah blah. Like I don't have to deal with this kid, so we're just gonna kind of push them to the side
and forget about them.
Yeah.
What right as you talked about all that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like what could be like that fairy dust? Like what would you, if you could wish one thing to change to help what you're doing, what would that be? Especially in this community.
Well, you need more people fighting the fight. Like there has to be more people willing. I talk about my upbringing, the village approach. I had respect for all my friends' parents. The ones, dads, moms, grandmas, grandpas, whoever was raising. There was like a mutual respect. We accepted everybody.
Yeah.
There's not an acceptance here. Like how I talked about, we had friends who, now that I know as an adult what it is, who had autism, Down syndrome, cognitive distortion, cognitive delays. We accepted them. We welcomed them, right? We protected them. You just don't see that nowadays.
No, there's
nowadays a culture of I'm going to record you.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to do these things. And that's one thing that I always find to be interesting is that I do a lot for people. You'll never catch me with my phone out.
No, I hate that.
And I'm not saying that
to record, hey, I just gave you a check.
Oh, that drives me nuts seeing people doing that.
And I know there's people that do it. I'm not saying that you're right or you're wrong. I'm just saying that
I'm saying you're wrong. Don't record people in public.
It just makes it seem less genuine.
Yeah.
Right. Because those people that really need help don't want to be exploited, which is why they don't call for help. Right. Don't make me into be a charity case. You give me support. Right. And a lot of times that support, everybody thinks it needs to be financial. No. Some people just need a person to talk to, some guidance. Am I doing this the right way? I, to this day, have people that I call and say, hey, let me pick your brain on this. And that's so important to me.
Yeah.
I don't need money. It's not what I'm calling you for.
Just need
calling because I need a peace of mind. I need a person that I can run my thoughts by, who I don't see every day. Somebody who doesn't have any stake in what I got going on and tell me, am I right?
Well, even that's part of your village. I love the, like they always say, like it takes a village. And we really don't have that anymore. No. Even when I was growing up, I feel like, yeah, I knew all my friends' parents. Like, everybody was part of the community, more or less. And that just doesn't exist as much anymore.
Different.
People are very alienated from each other.
I think their villages have become
by design,
their foes.
I think.
The village is on their phone.
Yeah, I think part of it's the digital world has sort of taken over, but I also think part of it is a larger cultural thing, the way that we are alienated from each other.
It starts in the home. It starts with you and your children.
Do you also think though, like,
well, it's just funny that
when you said before, like, when you grew up, even if somebody had autism, you didn't look at them any different. But was it also because we weren't labeled as much back then?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a heavier push. I think there's a big business in mental health, from medication, right? All of that. Like it's you can connect it all back to something financial.
Yeah.
But I think there's positive in it too, having an understanding of what it is, because now you can help them, you can treat it. And let me rephrase, that's not what I'm saying, because you can't treat a lot of, you can support them. Right? You can help them find their level of success, their threshold of success. But I don't know. It's hard to say what the answer is. I just know we need more people to be engaging in the work, more people to do it, because you'll see a change in the school system. Now, I could talk about a bigger issue here in Green Bay, right? The lack of youth sports. I'm not talking AAU. I'm talking about in the school systems.
When I started to try and get Max, my son, into sports, I had no idea that there really was like a lack. Even his school, like there's no sports. He has to go to other schools if he wants to play any kind of sport. And there seemed like it was very fragmented and.
So, and think about it though.
Has that changed though? Was it always? I guess my kids went to public school. There was always sports, but
I didn't go to school here. But I go back to my comment I said about in schools, they don't teach you about people of color who are businessmen. You know, you learn about Martin Luther King, a small portion of that, you know. So if you're not teaching me about it, but you're showing me all these athletes, but then you don't have the opportunity for me to be athletic, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So it's like, we don't give them opportunities and resources, and we don't educate them on other things that may not, you know, what are we supposed to do? And I get it. I push back on parents too. A lot of it falls on parenting as well. But I go, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not blaming the school district, because it's not Green Bay. It's a challenge every inner city.
Yeah.
But I think we got to take a look at how are we educating the kids? How are we, and it's not just kids of color, kids in general. Right? How do we give them more opportunities? Because you want to do that. You want to show them everything. Pick what you want to do. And then whatever they start to gravitate towards, that's what you push them and you invest in.
You should join the school board. You should run.
There you go.
As if you don't have enough stuff you're doing.
And just add that to the plate. It's fine. You just can't be late for those meetings.
That is kind of a battleground in Green Bay, though. Green Bay right now has one of the most progressive school boards in the state. And in my opinion, it is still not progressive enough. So I think that says something about the state of public schools in Wisconsin.
Well, the work isn't being done on the front line. The work needs to be done on the front line.
Yeah.
And as much as I push on the schools, it's a community issue too. Because I do a lot of basketball training. And when I go to some schools, there's so many parent volunteers and parent coaches. And like, you just don't have that people waving their hand in Green Bay. And if they are, I apologize, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a ton of kids, there's a ton of athleticism. But then you got to have those people that's willing to teach the game, but also teach life, discipline, right? Resilience. I know it's tough. I know you're tired, but push through. It's going to help you in the long run.
Yeah.
You need the right people. And that's why I make the correlation between mental health and basketball. I think that, truthfully, every coach should have some sort of background in mental health, right? Because kids are battling things. You know, I've had girls who come play who have eating disorders, right? Who have terribly low self-esteem, depression. And basketball is their outlet. And what do? Knowing that I can recognize that in a child, I support them. Give them an extra person to talk to. Come through the door, I greet them. Every kid that comes through my door, I try to say hi to. If I don't know their name, I get to know their name. I tell them I'm gonna butcher it a few times. I'm gonna learn it. But give them that sense of acceptance.
Yeah.
This is a place where you're not just another kid or another player. You are you. Your name is unique. So when you come through here, I'm gonna give you all of me, right? I'm going to yell at you a little bit. I'm going to motivate you, but this is a safe space.
Yeah. Do you have any particular stories that stand out from your work, either with fundamentals or with the basketball stuff? Any like big success stories?
I have a funny one. I watched him once because my daughter was at the Boys and Girls Club and he was teaching all these little kids who never played before. And this one little girl, remember you, Lila, you gotta you got to dribble the ball, because she literally would grab it and just run.
That's how I would do it when I was a little kid.
And they all look at him like, I don't get it. What do you mean dribble the ball?
And all of those kids are out of high school now. Can you believe it? It's crazy. But no, there's a ton of stories. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, there's no one that's more significant than the others.
Sure.
But there's a ton of success stories. Like I shared before, there was a mom who said we saved her child's life.
That's major.
You know, those things like that. And for me, I'm the first to tell my team I don't take credit for that. So as much as I'm not on the front line, I'm supporting the front line. But you guys are the ones in there every day doing the work. And I would tell this to anybody. I don't, like, my work on the front line is not as much as it used to be. Mine is now supporting and making sure they have the resources that they need. And I'll be honest, they do a phenomenal job. So I take no credit for that work that they did, because they show up every day. We know what the kid could do, right? We've seen it. We've heard about it. But that doesn't deter anybody from walking through that door, giving a handshake and saying, hey, let's move on with the day. You had a bad moment. Let's learn from it.
Sure.
Man, that's amazing. I've learned so much today.
You always do.
I always
Every
do.
time we record, you're like, I learned so much.
I know. Because I think it's right taking the time to talk to people and understand what's out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good
getting out of my
resources out
box.
there.
Yeah. What would you say to people who hear this talk with you and want to get more involved with maybe this specific, area of expertise, or maybe that's not the right word, but
Yeah, no, I would say get a true depiction of it. Make sure you talk to the right people.
Okay.
Because I know that there's people that come into the field and they expect it to be one way. But when you want to work with the population that I serve, you have to be willing to deal with the good, the bad, the violent. Right? You have to deal with it all.
yeah.
Right? And once you're okay and your understanding of that, then it becomes easy. Right? And that's what like I said, I go back to, I found a bunch of like-minded people who grew up and they're like, man, this is normal.
Yeah.
And we can help him. We don't want to see him go through the things that we had to go through, or her go through the things that we had to go through. So you just got to find the right people, because some people will give you a skewed perception of what we do. You see it a lot. Like, we get kids and they'll lie to us. Not the kids, but other professionals will not tell us the whole truth so we can say yes, not knowing we're going to say yes anyway. So make sure you always connect with the right people.
Okay. I like that advice.
Yeah. Wow. Well, man, we talked for a while. You are a good talker. You like to talk.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
I know many people wouldn't think that, but you do. Well, I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I think there's a lot of things that we as Green Bay population need to sit and really look at and help out.
Yeah. And just an American population.
That too.
In general. But yeah.
And teach our young kids to be different.
Yeah. Or
Go
teach
through-
them that being different is okay.
I mean, I think it's okay. So it's normal to me to be different.
100%.
Well, we always end our podcast.
Well, I do have something I want to say.
Please.
Go.
So my daughter wrote a book, and it's out, and it's called "I Am Beautiful" by Brielle Baker.
Dang.
And it is about an experience that she had in school, because she goes to a school where she looks totally different than everybody else.
Oh.
And she came home and she was asking questions about it, and I can tell there was a level of sadness. So we wrote a book. It's on Amazon. It's called "I Am Beautiful" by Brielle Baker.
I will put it in the show notes with a link.
There we go.
I love it. That's awesome. How old is she?
She'll be 7 on the 22nd of August.
Aw.
You helped her write it.
Well, no, they're her words, because when kids learn how to read and write, they get real nosy.
Yeah.
They want to be all in your phone,
They
writing
do.
letters before work and stuff, which is cool, but they get real nosy. So she wrote it. Now, the illustration we had support with, but they're her words. But the thing about it is, I think it's really cool because it goes hand in hand with what we talked about. She's different in an environment that probably doesn't see a lot of different, and she came home, and instead of her internalizing it, she said something about it.
Yeah.
She said, why am I like, there's something wrong with me? No, nothing's wrong with you. Right? And her book, I think it helped her a lot. And I'm hoping that it'll help other kids.
That's incredible.
I love that.
Yeah. We'll have to get that.
We'll put that in there. Maybe you need to get a copy for us. We can put it at the desk.
I actually have one in my car. I bought some for all of our schools.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
I love that.
So they'll be on the bookshelves in all of our schools. So I'll get you guys a copy.
Please do. Yeah, we would love to. Well, let's buy one.
Yes.
Yeah, buy
We'll
one.
go on
We'll buy
Amazon and buy it.
Buy a bunch. A bunch. All the contributions goes to our college funds.
For
If
doing
you're
the
listening,
podcast.
if you're
Number two.
listening
For
to
doing the
this-
podcast, we will
if you're listening to this podcast right now, just scroll down, click
Scroll
the
down.
link in the notes.
mhm.
Go ahead and buy that.
let's make it viral.
Yeah. It's a 20 pages, and there's a coloring section. You
Awesome.
can color and make yourself beautiful.
Okay, I love that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we always end from my book of the totally awesome Book of Useless Information.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
I know, but I got to find the right one.
Yeah.
Oh, got one.
Okay.
Because I feel like nobody would know this. What is a group of frogs called?
I never thought about that.
A group of frogs?
Frog legs.
I want to know this so bad. This feels like something I should know,
The
doesn't it?
southern
I
delicacy.
feel like you should know this
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you always know useless information.
Frogs.
Landon, don't be like Googling it.
A southern delicacy.
Well, that's if you're going to eat them, but they don't
I
really
really
want to.
don't
They
know.
don't.
I'm like,
They weren't created to eat. See?
I'm scraping the bottoms of my brain right now, but I can think of now. Now I'm thinking of all of the different animal group names that I know,
Oh, Lord.
but none of them are frogs. Okay, I don't know.
I
Are you
don't
going
know.
to tell us, or are you going to keep it?
Well, I was hoping somebody would try.
A pod.
Yeah, pod sounds right. Pod.
An army.
An army.
Seriously?
hmm
Group of
Huh.
frogs. I
That's
guess
what my
maybe
book
we're
says,
green.
everybody.
Okay, I love
Now, I
that.
don't have any information
frogs.
outside of what my book says.
Is that where the army? Maybe because there's green.
Yeah,
That
I
actually.
wonder.
And they kind of look like little army
Yeah.
trucks.
Oh, that's cool.
Can we
Sure.
also put in the notes why somebody would have even thought of that?
Yeah, sure. I'll look
And who
up, I'll
comes
look
up with naming a group of frogs?
I'll look up the origin. Of,
Like, does somebody just
frog
like show
groups.
up at the pond and be like, I think there's a group of frogs and we should call them an army?
I'll find it. I'll find the origin. I'll put it in the show notes.
Thank you.
I'll do the research.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve, for
For
coming
joining
talking
us.
with us.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah.
All right.
How do
We're-
we sign out
Man,
without Tad?
I know it's so weird. we go good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are.
All right.
Goodbye.
Peace out.
Peace out. See you next time.